Welcome back, adventurers, and today I am going to be presenting a 5-room dungeon that I created for this year's first ever dungeon jam. So before I get into that, I do want to just give a huge shout out to Catie at MysticArts. If you haven't checked out their channel, this is it right here. You can now go look at it. You can now find them and go to them and subscribe to them, because that's what you should do. So huge shout out to you over there. Love your stuff and really appreciate you extending the opportunity to be really appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this event, and you extending me the opportunity to be a part of this. So now for my 5-room dungeon, I have put together something that is a little different because I wouldn't really classify it as a dungeon, but it is basically a train heist where you, the players, get to pick whether you want to be a robber or a passenger, and the story unfolds accordingly. So there's actually 2 ways that you could play this. So on top of it being D&D and no session will ever be the same, there's actually multiple ways for you to get your kicks off for this one. So, and something else I want to mention here is that I have also made this kind of vague in the descriptions of the train itself, so you can make this fit a sci-fi train, you can make this fit a fantasy train, it can be a Victorian era train, it can really be whatever you want, and the look of each individual room is completely up to you, and I think that makes this a very versatile and very playable 5-room dungeon. Now, the story hook is everyone boards the Emberline Express. It is the last icy stop before its long journey to its final destination, and you get to decide what that final destination is because it doesn't matter. So we have guards that patrol, we have rune hounds that will sniff for contraband. I don't know what a rune hound is, you can decide what that is. And all players board the economy class passenger car. So that's sort of the stipulation that you come in and you decide whether you're going to be a passenger or a robber, and everybody gets on board to the passenger cars. Now there are a few sections to this train that are important to note. From the back to the front, the cars are in order: the security observation car, the treasure car, and the cargo hold. Then you have first class and middle class. Then you have the dining and kitchen cars that separate the passenger cars in front of them, or economy class. And then directly next to those is the engine room. Now, something that's important to note is that the engine room is inaccessible until your party has gone through room 5 and has completed that resolution there. For the sake of this session or this adventure, players have to traverse the train from the passenger cars backwards towards the back of the train, because the door that's leading them to the front, or the engine room, as well as all windows, have become magically sealed. There is one direction for your players to go, and that is back. Now, if you're a passenger, your objective is to survive the heist that is going to happen and stop the robbers so that you can make it to your final stop. And your mission objective, if you are a robber, is to secure the car, trap the passengers, head to the vault in the back of the train, and steal the treasure. Now, if you decide you want to be a robber, because let's be honest, that's probably the one that most people are going to pick, there are basically 5 steps. So step 1 is to get onto the train, disable or kill the patrolling guards, and steal the key so that you can lock the engine room. This keeps the train moving forward. So that's step 2. Seal off the engine room by locking the door with said key. That is to help delay any resistance and keep the train moving, because this is very pivotal to the plan. Step 3 is to move through the cars towards the back and reach the cargo hold with all of the treasure as quickly as possible. And then once you're at the cargo, step 4 is to blow the connection, the coupling, with some explosives that separate the cargo from the passenger cars, and the train will keep moving and the treasure will slow to a stop. And that is step 5. Load the treasure onto the heist vehicle, and that can be a horse.
I need a horse!
It can be a flying skiff, a floating carpet, whatever you want, and you and your party ride off into the sunset. Now again, that's just for the robbers. So let's go into the rooms, right? So room 1, you have your passenger car. This is the setup in the hijack. The Emberline is a luxury car, unlike any other, complete with luxury rugs. It has onboard dining. It has access to the most remote areas of the world. It is considered by most people an impenetrable magical vehicle that is equipped with the most highly trained security. Unfortunately, that means that some criminal syndicates will take this as a challenge, and it's going to be loaded with valuables. Now, if you're a passenger, room 1 is very simple. You board the plane, or you board the train as average passengers before you start to notice that there's some shady people. You can even overhear things like, people saying, check the crate in the kitchen to make sure it's ready, or we'll move at the signal, so that clever players can then feel rewarded for snooping before they hijack. And then, of course, the goal of the passengers is simply to survive and just survive the ordeal and arrive at your final stop. Now, if you're a robber, you have to begin disguise and you have to sneak aboard. So that's completely up to you as a DM, whether that means they have to forge tickets or they have to steal them or pickpocket them. And you can also have this NPC crew leader that maybe is feeding you your objectives over sending stones. rounds if they need a little guidance, and say if this is their first time playing ever. And it'll be fun because you can include tropes like, let's go through the plan one more time, and then, you know, you can individually point out players and say like, okay, what is step 2? And obviously they won't know because they haven't been walked through this, and they'll be, you know, then you can get angry at them and be like, okay, listen up, you guys, like, we really need to lock it in, you know, or whatever it is that you want to. And that just, you know, gives them a really fun way of getting important information, crucial information, really. And then at some point after they get onto the train, somebody will give them the signal, the heist kicks off, and the party has to overpower the guards, steal the key, and lock the engine room. And of course, that means that guards are going to leap into action for the very first encounter. So really, no matter what happens here, whether you're a player or a robber, basically a heist happens, and you will either try to stop it, or you are the person doing the heist. And after that encounter is when you learn that, you know, the engine room is either locked or you have locked it. Plan is now in motion, tension starts to rise, and you have one direction, and that's to go backwards. Now, at this point, if you are a passenger, the guards either had the key stolen or you stole the key and are moving backwards, and you will move into your next encounter, which is the kitchen car or room 2. Now, the kitchen car can really look however you want, but it is the separation between the economy class and the finer side of life towards the back of the train, your middle class and your first class. And this kitchen is fully stocked. It has, you know, all the appliances that would make sense. It's got crates, it's got boxes that are filled with all sorts of goodies, and it also has a trap. Now, whether you are a passenger or a robber, when you walk in, the doors lock, a bomb gets tossed in, gas or poison starts to fill the space, and you see somebody staring at you from the next car in front of you. And that can be either a robber or a guard, depending on which one you're playing. And if you really, really want to slow the party down, then you can have something like crates or pens filled with chickens or pigs or puppies or other cute animals, and they're for sure going to die if they aren't released soon. And that can be a way to sort of pull on your party's moral compass. Now, the challenge here is escape within 10 rounds, 1 minute, or you die. And that is really up to you as the DM and the party's creativity on how they're going to do that. And if you see that things start to go really badly, well, there's all these crates and boxes where you can provide them an antitoxin or a gas mask or improvised escape tools if they need that help or hint. So if you're a passenger, you have to pick the doors or cut through them or stop the trap, something like that. And if they need a little guidance, you can find a blood trail that shows you that the robbers went into the next car or something like that. And if you're a robber, well, this is just the guard's security countermeasures. So that means that all of these cute, fluffy animals in their crates will actually open, and those rune hounds, for example, would jump out and attack the party on top of the gas, which the rune hounds happen to be immune to. So if you're a robber, you're having to stop the trap, get into the next room, as well as fight off these dogs to really up the ante there. So really the only difference here is that the trap was set by the guards. So either way, you walk into this room, trap goes off, you have to survive it to get to the next room. And that brings us to room 3, which is the dining car or the mid-class. This room is intended to be neither a trap nor a combat encounter. It really should be something that drives your players into more of a role-playing situation. So as they enter this car, the mid-class dining car is in complete disarray. It was immaculate, it was polished. The room is now buzzing with fear and confusion because of what's happened in the next cars. You see that people have half-eaten meals on these beautiful linen-draped tables in front of you, and the passengers are talking nervously or they're arguing. The security door into first class, the one across from the players as they come in, is locked, and you see that there are 2 key slots. Now, if you're a passenger, as you walk in, there's a guard lying dead on the floor in front of you, and another one that's slumped against the booth, and he is bleeding out, or they are bleeding out. He calls you over, and the guard tells you that somebody found a key on the dead guard in front of them and that he still has his key. So somebody in this room has the other key, and the party needs to figure out who that is in order to move on. Now, if you're a robber, when you walk in, there's 2 guards, and you know that the officer has the key because your contact has told you that or whatever. The other key is hidden with an undercover officer whose identity is hidden even to the guards. And if you really want to speed things along, you can have both guards paid off or something like that. Now, for the passengers, you can give them some clues. Like, obviously, what they want to do here is interact with the people in the room, that sort of thing. But if you see that they're kind of grasping at straws or they're not really sure how to solve this puzzle, then you can give them a perception check or something for them to realize that, hey, there's a table in front of the person who's hiding that doesn't have any food, so why weren't they eating? And that can be a giveaway. Or there's a blood smear that goes behind the bar or something, and you see the players will find a napkin or a gauze that's bloodied and is like stuffed down the sink or something, and then they have to check people for injuries. If you're a robber, well, you can see that one of the people in this car has military posture and is wearing the same exact boots that the local military has as general issue, and that's how they figure it out. So you put a little pressure pressure on either one of those, and the person snaps and you'll have an encounter. Now, this can be a combat encounter if you want, or this can be sort of a skill check to like wrestle them to the ground. It's completely up to you and how much time you think you need. But once both keys are acquired, put into the locks, the door to first class opens, and the players will move through first class and towards the back to the treasure and cargo hold. And that brings us to room 4, the cargo hold, which is our boss fight. Now, this is a wide hold here. There's lots of crates, there's arcane batteries, there's magical goods. You can literally stuff this with whatever fits your flavor or vibe. And at the end of the car is the door that goes into the treasure vault, or you can have the treasure in here, whatever floats your boat, right? Whatever moves your train. That was a bad joke. And if you want to have things be more challenging or more deadly, you can have, things that will blow up like explosive canisters or tanks, barrels, whatever you want, so that the movement and battle in here feels dangerous. So your boss encounter is pretty simple. The passengers will encounter a brutal robber enforcer. They'll see that the enforcer is completely armed, they are magically enhanced, and they are prepared to fight to the death. And for their stat block, you can use something like a gladiator or a bandit captain, and you can reflavor it as a heist enforcer that has some arcane gear. So maybe they have resistance to non-magical damage. Maybe they have a riot shield that's like meant for spells so it can block one spell, or they might have a potion of speed or a potion of healing or something like that to make it more deadly. And then you have the robber encounter, where if you're playing on the robber side, when the players walk in, they encounter an elite arcane security captain that is fully armored in magically reinforced gear. And if you want to make it more challenging, maybe they have a couple of rune hounds or some normal guard stat block kind of guys. Now, for this arcane security captain, for the stat block, you can use a veteran, you can use a knight, and if you really, really want to up the ante here, you can make him a mage slayer. You can give him some spells for the day, so maybe he has shield, magic missile, hold person, and counter spell, and he can use each of them at once a day. His armor class, you could give him a +1 because he's got half plate or some other addition. And if you're going to use the rune hounds, I would just use the dire wolf and give them resistance to magic, or advantage on saving throws, things like that. And if you want to make them have to use the environment and that sort of thing, well, you can use the crates as environmental hazards or as cover options. You can have there be some hostages in here. You can remove or add backup for the enemy if you think things are going too easily for them, or if you want to make it tougher. And then for those canisters or those explosive barrels, if they get hit by a stray shot, then maybe they have to make a dex save and take a bunch of force damage or bludgeoning damage or fire damage or all of it. And you can even blow up the car and expose it to that cold environment, to the snow or whatever environment you end up putting this in, to just have that cinematic moment. There's one survivor here. It's either the passengers or the robbers, depending on which side the players took, and beating this gives them access to the treasure car, which is room 5, the resolution. So the players step into the final car and it's absolutely breathtaking. They find that the whole thing is stacked with security deposit boxes. There's sealed chests that have these arcane locks. They find these vaulted shelves that are lined with magical items. There's piles of gold bars, lots of coin purses, anything that you want to put in here to flavor it the way that you want to. Now, if you're a passenger, you've made it, the heist has failed and it is just barely unfolding. You're at the end here. You enter and there's some robbers that maybe are still alive if you need to give them more encounters. As you walk into this room, the last robber or robbers are wounded or they're terrified. They basically give up. They hand the keys to the engine room. You have secured the treasure. At this point, the players can either kick them off the back, kill them, tie them up, give them over to the guards, whatever. Now that you have the key to the engine room, you race to the front, moving forward through all of the previous rooms to reach the engine, gain access, slow down the car, and let the guards take over, and you are the hero. And if you really want to, you can make them have to solve a brief puzzle at the end of the session in order to gain access to the engine. Maybe it's some sort of special arcane lock, but the entire train is saved. And at the end, if you really want to test their morality, you can have one of the guards or a fellow passenger or something like that say that they need to hide a magical item for safety or for testing or something like that, just to kind of poke them, which may be a great way to get a hook into another storyline. Now, if you're a robber, then you've done it, right? At this point, the treasure car is yours, time is running out, so you need to detonate the coupling, separate the treasure car. The rest of the train speeds off without you, and then you get the treasure onto the heist vehicle that is now pulling up, and you decide what that is, what vehicle that is, or if it's a horse or a beast of burden or something like that. The train speeds off, and you are now richer than your wildest dreams. And if you really need to put any more pressure on them, or if you see that the session is ending too quickly, you could always have a second security team board onto the roof, cut inside into the room, or break through the windows or something, and drop in on them. And some potential sequel hooks here is you know, if you're a passenger, obviously the king or the city or whoever rewards you, or, you know, maybe blackmails you into service because they hear about how great you were in this situation. Now you have a hook into something else. Or if you're a robber, then this heist becomes legendary, right? There was the biggest heist of the century or whatever, and now you have syndicates offering you alliances, or maybe the party has stolen an important artifact or a device or some ancient thing that kicks off the next story, and now you have another plot hook. So anyways, there you have it. That's my 5-room dungeon, if you want to call it that. I think it'd be pretty fun to play this. I don't know. I put this together. Honestly, candidly, have not tested this at all. So if you decide you want to try this out, let me know. You can find this entire PDF for download in the description down below. It's completely free. So check it out and let me know in the comments how it went, how it goes, if it worked, if it didn't work. I might have done a little too much, but you know what? It was fun to put together. Once again, thank you to Dottie at MysticArts. Go check them out if you haven't. They really put together some incredible videos, so highly recommend, especially if you're a dungeon master and you want to learn how to run a game, and you want to get some tips from somebody who's really good at what they do. Go check them out. Again, thank you so much for having me be a part of this. As always, forge on, my friends, and remember, if the potion glows in the dark, it's probably bad. And if you want to check out all the other amazing dungeons that people have put together for this first ever dungeon jam, check out this playlist right here.